There's a bunch of awareness to movement lessons that have to do with walking and with standing. And I wanted to introduce you today to a sort of a classic and very, very basic walking lessons. It's actually called Introduction to Walking, and it's the first of a few lessons that introduce the concept of walking, okay? So just laying down some ground rules, okay? And you feel free to join me as I do this, although I will do a very, very short version of the lesson, okay? I will talk you through it, and hopefully you can take it and continue on your own. So you stand behind a chair, and you stand behind a chair for safety. You don't lean on the chair ever. You put your soft hands on it, and you do this lesson with parallel feet, at least the beginning of it. So soft hands on the chair, parallel feet, and eyes on the horizon. And you begin to shift your weight very simply left to right. And as you do, you can begin to become aware of what it feels like when you're on a leg. What does it feel like underneath? What parts of the foot are you standing on? And this question is not really about giving an accurate answer. It's more about learning to sense what's going on underneath you. So as you begin to shift your weight, you also begin to take control of your breathing, okay? And in this lesson, it's very clearly directed. So you inhale on a foot, standing on one foot, and you exhale. When you exhale, the beginning of your exhalation is the beginning of shifting from foot to foot. And you just do this for a while. Inhale and exhale on the transition. And you do this for a couple of minutes just to see what it's like to shift when you exhale and inhale on a leg. It's congruent, it's natural, it's simple, and you may find that it's kind of intuitive, congruent. After you do this for a while, maybe take a little walk. We like to say rest in walking because we're standing all the time. You can sit as well. And you come back to the same movement, and this time you begin to do the exact same thing, same pattern of inhaling on a foot and exhaling on the transition, except you leave your head more in the middle. So what that means is that you still shift your weight left and right, yet your head stays a little bit more where it is. Okay? So of course your head will move, but it will move a lot less than the rest of yourself. Now don't mistake this for moving only your pelvis. Your pelvis is definitely moving more than the rest of you, but the rest of you is moving as well. It's just that you're focusing on the fact that your head stays in the middle, more quiet. Okay? So this is a process. You can discover what it's like. You can also discover how it's a little bit different under your feet. Now this whole process needs to be done mostly on the heels. Right? This lesson is happening mostly on the heels, but it doesn't have to be. If you prefer not to do it on the heels, you can adjust the lesson and do it on the whole flat foot. Okay? I say flat foot, I mean keep the integrity of the arch, try not to collapse it, but it's okay for you to have the weight distributed throughout the foot. Specifically, the lesson, the way Moshe Feldenkrais teaches it, is on the heels more. Future lessons are going to shift to different parts of the foot, different ideas, but this one, this very basic one, the heels are the heroes. So you're on the heels. The most important part under our feet to support us. And you begin to leave the head a little bit more in the middle. It is the pattern of the breathing that is key, okay? So Just make sure that you give it a few minutes of shifting and paying attention. Are you able to play with this pattern of inhaling on a foot and shifting only exactly when you begin to exhale? Okay? So after doing that for a while, you cross your legs. And crossing the legs can be challenging for some people, and if fully crossing the legs is not possible, then do it partially. Do it either bring the foot close to it or in front of the other leg, but ultimately if you can, cross your legs, which is quite challenging to shift your weight in. Or it can be quite challenging for some people. Once again, you come back to the pattern of inhaling on a leg and exhaling to initiate the shift to the other leg. Okay? Except when you shift your weight left and right, you shift your weight left and right, but when you shift your weight to the right, you're going on the left foot. And when you shift your weight to the left, you're going on the right foot. And that's a little interesting. This is a challenge. You can also, once again, look or pay attention to the bottom of your feet. And once you begin to sense, to see in your mind's eye what is going on under the bottom of your feet, it will be interesting because it most likely will be quite different than how it was when you were with your feet parallel. And I just slow down so that I can begin to do this with more clear intention of the inhalation and exhalation. Okay? This is stage number 2. After that, once again, you go back to feet parallel and see what it's like. See if it made a difference in how you feel yourself shifting left and right. Throughout this process, if you're comfortable with it, please be more on your heels. But again, please remember, the front of the foot needs to relax on the floor. The 5 toes need to relax on the floor. Not too much action, not too much work there, but they need to be listening on the floor in the front. Okay? You go to the other side, you cross the left in front of the right, you do the same thing. And once again, you come back to parallel feet and shift your weight and explore. The next combination is interesting. We're going to begin to make a semicircle as we shift from side to side. So rather than go in a straight line from side to side, we go in a semicircle. But there is one little process that happens before that. And that process has to do with doing the same thing, shifting left and right, but exaggerating what you're doing with the heels, meaning that every time that you go into a foot, you lift that foot. You lift the front of that foot. So you're leaning more clearly in the back of the heel and not where you usually lean, which is in the front of the heel. Okay? The lifting of the front of the foot can be small, but it needs to be there. There's something really interesting that takes place when you do that. See what your experience is like. Now, when you do that once again, you begin to do this and then you think to yourself, wait, am I leaving my head in the middle? What am I doing? So you continue to look for these details, the breath, the fact that the feet are parallel or not, the fact that you're on your heels or not, the fact that you're moving your pelvis more than your head, and allow your body to adjust. Again, the final piece of this lesson has to do with shifting the weight from side to side through the back. a semicircle through the back. And once again, can the head stay in the middle? Of course, the next step will be doing the front half, which will be more difficult to keep the weight on the heels because you're going to go in the front. Still possible, but you can play with it and see what it's like for you. And if you really want to take this to the next level, you can begin to explore what it's like to do a circle on crossed legs. And this is really challenging. So you may wish to stop there, or you can begin to explore it. If you do explore it, please be very, very gentle. This is quite challenging. A lot of things need to be very flexible and well organized for you to discover how to do these movements. And if the head can stay quiet in the middle, above, that's something. That's something to recognize and to enjoy. And this again is the basic introduction to walking lessons in Moshe Feldenkrais' Alexander and I series. Okay, play with it, enjoy, share with me, tell me what you think. I will see you next week. Take care.